Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us for these PS4 qualifiers. We're in Group B here in North America. Aggro joined by Goremizer. What's up, dude? How you been?
I'm doing real good. It's nice to be back.
It's like riding a bike. I was listening to the last cast. I was like, man, Gore never left. You know, you're right back in the saddle, and we shall get right back into the saddle. Here's we're getting ready to go into picks and bans here. Game one was a complete turnaround. I mean, it looked like it was going to go Speedy Slug's way, and then Conquest turned it around, and that could be really important as the day goes on. Of course, only the top 2 teams move on to join that PS4 league in the fall.
That's that kind of loss where if you don't qualify, you beat yourself up over it for the rest of the time that you are not considered in the league. Like once you don't make it, that is the one you remember.
It's forever. I remember losses that I took that I shouldn't have that still haunt me to this day. Shout-outs to the Willix pick in that game that I'm still haunted by.
It's like nightmares. I imagine you like waking up in a cold sweat, just like never again.
I know. I still remember it dearly. MLG Columbus. It was a good LAN, except for the most heartbreaking loss of my entire career. Cullen and Chernobog, 2 C's banned away by BM. On the other side, Giannis and Odin banned away. So lots open, and Zhong is one that we've seen quite a lot of. It also can flex from mid or solo.
And it was in that last game that I think, again, was a really big turning point. You have a really tanky body that can do a lot of damage if you aren't paying enough attention to him. And so he's in this area of either look at me or you're dead. Like you don't really get much of a choice.
That's right, and now you're going to have to deal with it. And Athena and Chang'e, the 2 selections here to try and do just that from Family Friendly. Chang'e, also one of those picks that has started to come into the solo lane quite a bit. I imagine that's where that's going for them to match up against the Zhong potentially. But BM, they decided to take the counter to Zhong and Nemesis, but it really isn't seen that much these days. A lot of slows on that side, though. Family Friendly already going to be looking for sprints and wing blades.
And I feel like that's one of those, well, we already know we have a tanky solo laner. We know we're going to have a Guardian that's going to be tanky. We know Athena or Nemesis is going to be big if you want to grab it.
Yeah.
Like you said, though, hasn't been seen as often. I don't think she needs to be your number 2 pick unless you're really, really good at Nemesis.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think you need it this early, especially because Chang'e is a god that Nemesis ult doesn't do that much to, and she can just buy sprint at level 1 and then not really worry about getting ganks all game long. Exactly. So we'll wait and see. Maybe Chang'e will want to go for meditation or teleport and open that door. A couple hunters banned by Family Friendly and Hachiman and Jibalanke, whereas Hunbat's and Agni, 2 gods that we've seen a lot of during these PS4 qualifiers. Hunbat's quite a bit in both regions, but that Agni performance in the last game certainly deserving of a ban here, even if it isn't the same team.
And when it comes down to it, those are just 2 gods that are staples. They're very, not necessarily like easy to run, but they fit in pretty much anything. No matter what, like they're plug and play. As long as you're good at them, they will fit. Hades, however, is not so much that.
No, it looks to me like Zhong will now be going mid lane with Hades taking over that solo, and honestly, I kind of like it. I mean, it does bring some inherent risk. The team fight here from BM is just circles on circles. I mean, Hades and Zhong ults, Medusa Petrify, they're covering a lot of ground, and they've got that single target damage with Nemesis, whereas Family Friendly is also a pretty decent AoE composition, but still doesn't bring that same level of disruption as BM does.
They've got a little bit more burst to maybe deal with some of those ults, although I'm kind of curious as to how they're going to try and deal with Zhong Kui's health bar. Cerberus, you can kind of glance over. Hades has gotten a lot easier to kill since he's no longer at Guardian. Once he lost a lot of those protections that he would have had, it's made it a lot easier to deal with him. And I think last week we actually got to see a Hades mid, and he did not do too well. He was 0-8 throughout the game. Still won, but he was 0-8.
Well, let's see if Hades mid does a little bit better here, because that is the selection for Laninator. Instead of the Zhong in the mid lane, it will be indeed the Hades in the mid lane. Going for that talent trinket start. One that can really work out. I mean, his early level 1, level 2 pressure is pretty good, and got a change not too long ago to lower the cooldown of Devour Souls, his main clear ability, and that has really helped him out in contesting jungle camps early.
And very similar to what we saw last game, that's the kind of idea of if you can get that lead, you go Bancross Talon early on, you have a lot of sustain, you keep yourself rolling, you kind of snowball yourself, or at least attempt to. But if you go down, you lose a little bit of that farm. It just doesn't quite take off the way you want to, versus what you do see out of the Thoth on the other side, who's going to have just an easier time.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, a couple familiar faces here for Family Friendly. Forger Vulcan and Spartan. Those 2 have been mainstays of the console community for quite some time. So seeing them move over from Xbox, the console, to now the PS4 to try and get some competition going in their favor. Didn't work out for Speedy Slugs in the last game, so maybe Family Friendly will find a bit more luck. Little Tony on this Ravana, a selection that also was kind of falling out of favor, but I think makes a lot of sense against Zhong because that Mystic Rush ultimate, remember, makes that whoever he hits with it take more damage from all sources for a period of time. And
being able to burn down, that's a lot of what they're missing. The reason Nemesis was probably taken so early on, right now it's going to be some aggression. Spartan looking for a little bit. That's going to be a beautiful slow from Persxus, just to make sure that no one's going to be able to aggress.
Surprised that Adaption doesn't just go straight for Lanator in that mid lane with the stun, but was aiming for the solo with the jungler and doesn't find it, but still pressure earned by Family Friendly off the back of Spartan's rotation towards the mid lane. But they'll meet up with the duo lane from BM eSports here as Soldier and Privera stop Family Friendly from getting back towards the lane quite as easily. They missed basically a full minion wave, only got 2 archers here for Spartan, losing those on the rotation.
Big rotations, but not being able to find too much. Last game, that got punished a lot harder overall. The jungle was getting stripped away, and I'm kind of curious to see what BM can do, because I just don't see Nemesis, I want to say, having that same kind of impact overall. Not getting anywhere near as aggressive, stripping away jungle camps. So I think you're going to see BM play it a little bit slower early on.
I mean, they've got that great AoE comp, as we already talked about, so they can afford to play it a little bit slower. Family Friendly can certainly tango in the late game. I mean, the Robin late is really good. Thoth late is great. Chang'e late is even better. But it feels like they have the potential to get off to a better start than BM does.
All they really need is potentially, I mean, just 1 kill, I think, in the duo lane could get everything rolling for Spartan, make it so much easier through the rest of the game, especially if you can get just ahead of the Medusa. I think you're both going to start hitting that stride around the same time, but I think Spartan's stride lasts way longer than what you're going to see out of Privera. So as long as you can kind of keep him just a little bit behind you every step of the way, you win the marathon.
And keep in mind, I mean, since the last time you casted Smite Gore, Medusa did get a pretty substantial buff in that she now has 4 Viper shots whenever she hits rank 4 of that ability. So that does increase that overall curve, if you will, but I still agree with you. I mean, Hui's ultimate continues to stay very good throughout the whole game. Not that Medusa's doesn't, but it loses some of that big power potential and turns more into a CC ult.
I think it's just one of those circumstances thing where Medusa, there's going to be certain areas where her ult is immensely better than dropping the Suns, but you're not going to see those anywhere near as often as Spartan being able to just go, well, hey, there's 3 people, let's just drop the Suns in this spot. I'm bound to hit 2 of them for a good amount of time, and once I get that damage rolling, Thoth just cleans up.
A lot of times you won't look at the Hui ult and be like, oh, we lost the fight because our Hui ult wasn't great. You'll say that a lot about Petrify. If you don't get a good Petrify off, that's an easy way to lose a team fight. And again, that's kind of what BM's whole composition is all about here, getting value out of big AoE ultimates, whether in the jungle or in lane. But I think jungle fights would probably serve them just a little bit better here.
And honestly, with the way they've set things up using the AoE ults they have from Zhong and Hades, that kind of helps give Privera that leniency that you need to be able to find a better ult. You don't have to be the one initiating or the one trying to slow them down. You have a team that can do that for you, maybe even turn them towards you. If you find a good Medusa ult into Hades, that combo could end up being deadly.
Very much so. Or, I mean, SOLDIERANGELO has a great ultimate to group people up for his team as well in that Stygian Torment from Cerberus. I think that's a beautiful pick here in this situation. One that maybe you would say, oh, maybe we want Athena to set up with Medusa or something like that. I think that Cerberus ultimate is the best you could ask for. Just maybe he might not have as much setup as the Athena would without, use of that ultimate. BM is off to a okay start, both them and Family Friendly kill list thus far, but BM has the slightest, and I mean slightest, of leads in the golden XP department.
Just a couple 100 gold, but again, that can lead a little bit in your favor. All it takes is one slip up from Family Friendly or from BM to completely nullify that and switch the sides that have that control. And you can kind of see that, I want to say, going back and forth. Family Friendly going to be able to steal just a little bit away. And I'm looking at these neutral XP camps, mid-harpies specifically. Those are swaying that mid-fight more than ever.
Well, Copper could be in some trouble here. Takes a couple ultimates from the solo and jungle. Still alive, but cooldown's coming back pretty soon. Meditation, no, just the heal rather, from the Exorcism was good enough. It was such a big heal, it looked like a med. But no, Exorcism with the card combines to make sure Copper is safe and sound. Now, Persxus threw out an ultimate of his own just to be safe, but it wasn't enough to bring anybody down. A little bit of action, but no blood spill.
On the other side, though, you do burn that meditation that Chang'e was able to pick up. Dragon Knight not having that available. I don't think it's going to make a huge, immense difference, but it's just a little bit of pressure, that aggression that he would have had, or at least lane pressure that he would have had. And now he has to back to at least get that mana back.
And I talked earlier about the Mystic Rush sort of Sunder-esque effect, where whoever gets hit by it takes 10% more damage. But after that ultimate hit, Copper then pops the ultimate to double his protections, which kind of takes some of that away from Mystic Rush. That was well timed. Tony might need to try and wait out that Zhong ultimate, because once he doubles his protections, then you make him take 10% more. It might be a little bit better for you.
And you are in this area where you can also reduce his healing just a little bit. And I think between the Ravana and the Chang'e, if you can get that onto Copper, you stop him from regressing a little bit. You can at least hold him back, and I think that's the goal. They have a lot that holds back Zhong. The problem is, how strong is your cage that you're putting him in? Is it enough to actually stop him from being as potent as he can be? The more items he gets online, the less likely it is you actually stop him in his tracks, and you just kind of stop him from doing as much.
You need the shells and the sprints and everything to try and compensate. No shell quite yet, but that is a little bit better towards the later stages, so a sprint the early pickup here for Forager Vulcan. I think that's a wise call. I mentioned during the picks and bans, kind of think Dragon Knight should have gone for a sprint as well, just to make sure he's super safe from Persxus' ganks, but Meditation does give him a burst heal that can keep him healthy, and Chang'e, being a mana-hungry character, sometimes needs that mana regen.
And it's in that perfect area. Actually, there's going to be the Petrify come out, but a beautiful time to counter, and Vulcan still in a little bit of danger.
A little bit late there from Angelo, but can appreciate the idea. Privera got it started with the Petrify, but 2 ultimates in the duo lane result in no kills for BM eSports. Forger did use his sprint, though, to make sure he stayed safe.
That was a math problem where the answer was wrong, but the work was right. They almost had everything they needed lined up. They just forgot to change the sign of one of those numbers, and everything fell apart.
Oh, God, I'm so glad I don't have to do math homework anymore. You just reminded me of the dark days.
My older sister's recently gone back and has been going through math, and I'm like, I'm so glad I'm out of there.
So glad. Privera's trying to get out of there as little Tony keeps the chase going. Spartan getting closer and drops the ultimate. It wasn't even necessary. Tony took care of it. First blood goes Family Friendly's way, as that Robin still showing that he's still got it in the jungle.
I feel like this is going to be like the opening of a seal. First Blood took a while to get there, but I expect these teams are going to want to fight a lot more now. Even now, Dragon Knight has no mana to survive this.
Man, Divine Judgment means that Exorcism just did half of Dragon Knight's health, basically. BM answers back pretty quickly. Taunt onto Angelo is pretty solid, but Spartan accidentally tanking out that Gold Fury means that he's got to jump away. So 2 kills in quick succession, but Family Friendly end up a bit on top, just because their kill was worth more being First Blood.
Being able to find just a little bit more pressure now in that dual lane because of Medusa falling. Again, all you need on Hu Yi is maybe just a little push ahead, level 8 to level 7. It's not going to be huge, but once those ults start coming through, once we start seeing these team fights, you're relying a lot more on the Hades and the Zhong than you are really hoping for your Hunter to do anywhere near as much as they could.
And you're kind of looking for Hades to do a bit more than he's done thus far. I mean, Hades is the guy who wants to be aggressive early on because no one can really kill him in his ultimate because the extra protections that he gets are much better during the early game. I mean, he gets more as he scales it, but it just is more effective in the earlier stages. As Privera boxing it out with Spartan. Spartan's out of mana here, and there's a good fight to take. Petrify, good, but not good enough. The auto attack afterwards, however, is solo kill for Privera. Happy birthday, Spartan. Gets the kill onto him. No boots were done there for Spartan, so that's why that damage was a little bit in Privera's favor, even with just boots 2 at the time.
And just having that positioning, you could see Privera. I don't think he was out of range of the minions, but there were less minions to attack him versus where you could see Spartan trying to kind of take up house. He was sitting pretty much right in the damage. Even if he had been able to, I think he needed like 2 autos at the tail end there. Could have turned it around, but it's just a little bit too much to ask. A lot harder to juke than you would think.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great recognition from Privera that Spartan was out of mana, because if Spartan gets to drop ultimate, Privera loses that fight every time. But Spartan didn't have enough ultimate for his mana for his ultimate or for his leap in that spot. Privera takes advantage, and BM takes a 2-1 advantage in this game. But again, it's not the lead that this team would like. Of course, they'd like a bigger one, and they have the potential to do so, but it has to revolve around this Hades mid. And now that Lanator has his boots done, you expect, at least I do, him to be a little bit more aggressive.
And that's, I think, one of the big things. You expect a little bit more early on from him because he wants, like you said, he wants to fight. He wants to deal that damage because he has a lot. But I have to give him props. Not falling behind is probably one of the next best things you can do, just because he's in that area of, yes, Adaption is doing a little bit more in terms of farm, but you haven't died, you haven't given up too much. As long as you stay alive and you stay prevalent, you don't give up anything. So when those late game fights come, your ults mean something.
Copper locked in by 3 members, and no help is coming from BM. It is a 1v4 that Family Friendly take advantage of, but look at BM eSports straight towards the Gold Fury. Spartan knows they have the Oracle Vision. Spartan gonna drop the ultimate just as a deterrent. Ravana happy to tank the entirety of that ultimate for some reason. We'll now realize that probably wasn't a great idea, and it's time to go back.
You could see the team trying to figure out what the call is right there. Do we go for the Hu Yi? Do we fall back? Do we go for the Gold Fury? Like, where do we go? And you could see it split them up. That's actually SOLDIERANGELO and Ravana both taking a lot of damage just because of that indecisiveness, ultimately falling back, not getting anything, and losing that kill. So far, BM, I mean, I want to say we're in a good position, but if Family Friendly go for this, they might be able to get themselves a big lead.
This is a great pull here from Family Friendly. No ward vision whatsoever from BM eSports. You're basically looking at Lanator right now to sniff this one out, and he does so a little bit. Mystic Rush there just to up that DPS, and Family Friendly get away with that Gold Fury. Adaption and Tony both burn beads, though. That's a good Hades all right there. Can't ask for much more than that.
Comes in, it was one of those awkward moments where he just wasn't able to get far enough to get the 2 that were the lowest of hell. Vulcan and Spartan easily could have died there. They were just far enough away. Getting the beads is going to be big, but you lose Gold Fury. You've been trying to cultivate this small lead, a small seed that you planted to make it huge, and now it's going to be sitting 1,600 in favor of Family Friendly instead.
But BM not looking to just roll over and take their objective loss, heads for Pyromancer, and they will get it, so at least a consolation prize for the Order side as they answer back a little bit. I really feel like if BM could take advantage of the fact that both Adaption and Tony's beads are down for quite some time, that they might actually end up slightly ahead overall in that little skirmish.
I mean, looking at the slows and the control they have, as long as they can catch them out, which I think is going to be the key. Can you get Ravana and Thoth to leave that safety net and then capitalize on it? Once you have Hades ult back up, it will be a little bit easier for you, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Still, 100 seconds is plenty of time for you to work with. Spartan's actually going to go in on them.
Yeah, Spartan goes in indeed. Ravana must not have the dash. Spartan's going to be tanking this tower, and Ravana's Petrify is there. Beads just to get away to the slow from Spartan is big ricochet, not there, grazes the mustache of Ravana. Defender of Olympus comes down, but SOLDIERANGELO doesn't have the damage right now, and he's going to get punished for his aggression. This Athena ultimate from Vulcan has been so good here.
I'm having deja vu to one of the game-turning fight from last game. You get a little bit of tunnel vision. There's someone low. You think you can kill him, and you overcommit. It's just one of those areas. Sometimes once you miss that first ability, you give up. You just need to get out because you don't recognize whether or not they're rotating over, and I think that's the big thing. BM eSports, not a lot of vision in this side of the jungle, or really anywhere in the jungle as of right now, whereas Family Friendly have wards up on most of the major intersections to make sure they're catching the traffic that's coming through.
And it's not like it's a big lead right now for Family Friendly, but you're right, there is so much vision in their favor. You'd think it's a 3,000 gold lead at this point, just based on how much their vision is in their favor. Good juke there by Persxus, got away from that waxing moon, but Dragon Knight still plenty safe, just with the extra movement speed that his abilities give him. He will escape, but unsuccessful on his invade attempt.
Now Family Friendly are trying to take what they have and turn it into a little bit more. 1,200 gold is a good starting point, but again, it only makes a big difference if you're able to get that. I mean, spread across 5 players, 1,200 is not that big of a number. You don't even get a tier 1 item off of that, so you're having to figure out where do we go from here. You need a tower, maybe 2 to start getting the ball rolling. Then the second Gold Fury comes into the equation, then you can start the snowball, but they have to find a good fight, and so far, they just haven't found as many good picks. They're really just capitalizing on when BM overextend.
An early Stone of Fall here for Lanator, an item that has seen a couple changes during its time in Season 5, has the potential to really shut down that one-shot capability that Thoth has, but he doesn't really have it at this point of the game, which is why I think this might be a little early. I think this item is heavily under-purchased, but still seems a bit early. I mean, anytime you're going to take more than 20% from your max health from a single ability, it'll get reduced by 10%. I guess at this point, you still would take 20% from a full charge Final Judgment, so it could work out for Lanator here.
At least trying to stay alive, and I think it's one of those moments where any other mage push it back 1, maybe 2 items, but because it's Hades, because he has to stand still in Pillar of Agony, that's a free shot. That is a free kill if you target it up or you line it up right. And it's not too hard as long as you have eyes and at least one thumb that can work. So Adaption would be looking at an easier kill there, except for that maybe now having to dump a little bit more in to try and kill off Hades.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea, honestly. Primera gets bounced, but Persxus is on the way. Nemesis ultimate is there. Spartan trying to find an escape route, but I doubt he'll find one. Aegis buys him a second, but that's all it'll buy him. SOLDIERANGELO cashes the check and gets the kill onto Spartan. Now, Tony is around the backside here, and coming underneath of Persxus is Primera just barely gets back to base. Persxus has to use the beads from the aggression from Family Friendly.
And now you're going to be seeing Hades maybe caught out. No, actually going to be able to walk away no problem. As you see Family Friendly just give up, they lose Spartan, they recognize again, maybe we can't actually win this engagement, we're pretty far in their jungle, and that's the kind of call I think makes a big difference. BM, they would have chased that. At least earlier, the way they were playing, they did chase kills like that, and it didn't work out for them. So being able to make that recognition, just cancel it, is a lot better.
This could be a great opportunity for a Hades ultimate. Probably wasn't even necessary there. Big damage though onto the Hades right away. Angelo's ultimate immune by a nice overhead kick from Lil Tony. A pick, but Lanator probably thanking the fact that he got that Zone of Fall. Don't know if the passive helped him out, but certainly the magical protection did in that spot.
Being able to walk away alive, and that keeps him available for what is the next Gold Fury as it just respawned. I expect these teams are going to be looking towards that. This was a point last game where both of these teams, or at least one of the teams, was easily able to look at a Fire Giant, but the way these two have kind of keep themselves even with a small lead, you don't feel confident enough at 17 minutes, 18 minutes now, to really full commit until you get a couple more levels.
Yeah, Hades, this pick, I think, can work very well against Athena, but you want to use that ultimate as a counter-engage tool, and you're kind of running out of time to do that. Because in the late game, if Athena's looking to dash taunt you and you just stick the ultimate and pull her in instead of getting taunted, there will be enough follow-up there that you have to be really concerned. As Ravana, not concerned, dashing in against Spartan. Good leap from Spartan, and he'll find that kill, but Persxus immediately punishes him for doing so. Lanator's ultimate not quite up yet. Really wants it right now against Forger Vulcan, but with Lil Tony and Nano Adaption here, might not have been the best call anyways.
Half health on SOLDIERANGELO and Lanator might be enough to dissuade BM eSports from coming back into the jungle, but they know exactly what the target is right here. It's one of those weird moments where you don't really want to look for the fight because you don't think you can walk away with it, but you can't give up the Gold Fury for free, so you have to at least have some presence here, but that's keeping you from healing up as much, it's keeping you from farming. You have to kind of pick and choose this battle a little bit more carefully.
And BM eSports just don't have the same amount of burst damage that Family Friendly has, so a Gold Fury secure could be easily in Family Friendly's favor, as Dragon Knight easily secures the enemy blue.
There's so many things that have happened in this game that I feel like really hit home. Watching the blue buff get stolen there, definitely I can feel so many people empathizing with that.
Oh, yeah.
As well as the 4-man ganks that we've seen to the duo lane. Neither of these hunters have been able to walk away pretty, feeling confidently. I think a couple of 1v1s between the two of them going back and forth, but the last couple kills have just been these huge rotations.
And that leaves the solo laners to just free farm. I mean, when we checked in on that, I was like, wait a minute, is Dragon Knight really level 18? And not only is he level 18, but so is copperpunkin. I mean, these guys have gotten so much farm over there. Junglers haven't even been there to split blue buffs. I mean, it has been solo farm all day long on the short lane.
Pretty much their dream. They're on the island. That's going to be a good taunt for Vera, taking some damage. Once again, not going to be able to connect with his ult.
Vera dashes in to Spartan with the ultimate still dropped. Great ricochet there out of the Hu Yi to knock down Primera. But surprise, surprise, here comes Persxus looking for the cleanup kill. Great taunt by Forger Vulcan. Spartan was ready with that Aegis, and Forger Vulcan is the consolation prize for BM because Spartan gets away, though Copper doesn't want to let that happen. Don't think he has a choice, though. Spartan just out of range of that wasted ultimate from Copper.
It popped his ult to have a little bit more tankiness, but no one else was following him. I feel like they could have at least taken a tier 1 as another consolation prize. I mean, at that point, you're just getting a prize. You're not getting exactly what you wanted, but you're still coming away with a lot. You grab oracles, you set yourself up maybe for a Gold Fury, but there's still just enough presence. As long as Adaption's online, you can't really pressure out any of the neutral objectives because he can just steal it.
Very easily with that final judgment. Dragon Knight, you could tell, was itching to fire off that waxing moon with 3 or 4 people coming through the corridor, but no one else was close enough to follow up, so he holds. Persxus going to meet up with Spartan again on this left-hand side. This time, Spartan receives the Athena ultimate as an extra measure of safety. And that prompts Family Friendly to start up this Gold Fury. Dragon Knight zoning, 2-man ultimate onto the front line, but Persxus gets past him. Final Judgment wasn't there, but Family Friendly still get the Gold Fury anyways. Persxus looking to put down Adaption, but that Mystic Rush was solid. Aegis will save Adaption until the Petrify coming from Bravera puts him down. A massive Pillar of Agony, though, from Lanator in this jungle, but not quite enough damage yet here, Gore.
Right now, losing 2 after getting Gold Fury is still not going to be a lot in your favor, not feeling comfortable. Now little Tony going to get caught out, and that's going to be 3 for none. Family Friendly, I want to say, take that engagement well at the beginning, and then it all fell through their hands.
Very, very quickly. That's where this composition does really well, right? I mean, the AoE just group
Small
up there
corridors.
by Pillar of Agony. I mean, those small corridors, as you just mentioned, very difficult to deal with, and now BM is heading towards Fire Giant, but Dragon Knight and Forger Vulcan are here, the 2 tankiest members of Family Friendly, and Dragon Knight's gonna have his ultimate up soon, so instead BM just gonna chase him out. A full commit onto the Chang'e solo, and Waxing Moon never gets a chance to be used. Now it's just Forger Vulcan here trying to get this steal. Copper uses that ultimate to dissuade him, and dissuade him he will. BM eSports take the first Fire Giant of the game.
And it's just one of those areas that, honestly, looking at it and the way things have been going, it's a huge swing in their favor. You essentially nullify the gold lead. It's still sitting at 800, actually, is going to drop because of that Pyromancer as well. But that experience just completely swings over into your favor. Where we would have mentioned Adaption before, Spartan before, it's kind of falling off. Even if it's 1 level behind, actually 2 levels still ahead for the Thoth, it's just not enough on its own to give them that lead. Family Friendly need to take the fights a little bit more carefully, choose their targets, and where they fight a lot better.
This has been an exciting day, I think, for the North American scene and the PlayStation 4 qualifiers, because everyone kind of expected, you know, the guys and teams that had the players that had been on Xbox before, that had that competitive experience, to kind of come in and run the show a little bit, but that didn't happen in the last game. The Speedy Slugs got beat in a very surprising fashion. They controlled it, don't get me wrong, but they still are 0-1 so far. And then this squad for Family Friendly, I mean, Forger Vulcan, Spartan, I believe Lil Tony is a former console jungler on Xbox. Like, these guys, you expect them to come in and have that experience, but PS4 showing it can still bout.
And one of the things they've been able to do throughout this entire game, and I was going to mention this earlier, they've got 2 Pestilences, a Divine Ruin, a Brawler. It's like they're going for some anti-heal. They're trying to shut down the Zhong, the Hades. They're trying to kind of keep it in control. But I think what you're seeing is BM eSports play this well, is they're both kind of base racing right now. These tier 2 towers, 1 in left, 1 in right. And it looks like Family Friendly are kind of in the lead.
Oh, Pumpkin, I don't think this is where you wanted to be, honey. There you go. 4 people kill him very quickly, as the base race is indeed on. And are they going to really try and just outright end here?
There's no way.
There's no way. This is... Okay, a couple members back, 3 members stay, but 2 members against the 4 of BM eSports will stop BM from getting the Titan, but they will trade opposite side Phoenixes, and now Family Friendly begins their back. I was going to say, trying to rush a Titan in this spot would be incredibly unwise.
Both of these teams just gave me like a mini heart attack where I'm like, there's no reason you should do this unless you absolutely, like, if it goes well for you, you win the game. You have like maybe, I want to say like 10% chance of fully winning it and 90% chance of losing the game if this doesn't work the way you want it to.
Oh yeah.
Both falling back though, I would say I give a little bit to BM because I think their Phoenix is a little bit more important.
Lanator has to use both relics. Petrify was solid. Big Stygian Torment straight into that Pillar of Agony, but Adaption says he's not doing that any longer. Big put down there from Final Judgment. And if you're a Hades fan, you wonder, hey, how come we don't see more Hades in competitive play? That's the exact reason. It was a great ultimate. And then Adaption was like, you don't live anymore.
And it's just one of those awkward moments. I think any ability that locks you in place, even if it does a lot of damage, I mean, that Hades ult could 3-shot you.
Yeah.
But even if it 3-shots you, you're standing still for 3 of those seconds.
I mean, look at Death Gaze for Anubis. It's the highest damaging ability in the game for a full damage build. It isn't close. And he still is not seen very often because of situations. just like that. Family Friendly now with all the momentum. They'll push ahead, looking for their second Phoenix of the game. Oh, Punkin. That's not what you're looking for. Taunt into death. Persxus is doing what he can. Good damage coming from Ravana as well, but these heals from Dragon Knight have just been so solid to keep Family Friendly in it. Mid Phoenix down to about half, but it looks like they're starting to back it up, and Adaption gets, very lucky that it didn't get crit, but then he hits a great 180 evaded and punish, and Dragon Knight gets punished for helping out his team.
Well, I think Dragon Knight did pretty much the right call there. I think there's 2 people whose lives you're, maybe 3 people on the side of Family Friendly whose lives you're okay with giving up in order to save Adaption and Spartan. Those are the 2 you have to keep alive just because of the presence they can have elsewhere. Adaption has a ton of burst. He can kill you off in pretty much no time, especially Lanator. Spartan, however, is looking for things kind of like the objectives. That one didn't quite go the way he wanted to ride it.
No, and Spartan should count as lucky stars that Ravana didn't just continue that chase, because there was no one near Spartan. His jump was down, and he was below half HP. That could have been a quick kill for the side of BM. But alas, Family Friendly just lose the Gold Fury, but at 27 minutes, that's not as much of a concern. Really, both teams focusing on the next Fire Giant.
And that's going to be where these Phoenixes actually come into equation. BM, they have to defend the right lane. That's already where the Fire Giant is. They're pretty much safe. They're in the area they need to be. Whereas when you look at Family Friendly, 1, maybe 2 people are going to be spent trying to get rid of the Fire Minions over on the left-hand side of the map. And so you either need someone like Athena, who doesn't really have that great clear, but she can use her ult to get in, or someone with a teleport, someone with something to rotate over. As of right now, it looks like it's going to be Spartan, so they're going to be down their Hunter.
This is a tough situation to be in for Family Friendly. Forger Vulcan may be the one who needs to head over there, because as you mentioned, Defender of Olympus can get him back, but it looks like instead Family Friendly are just willing to give up pressure in that lane as beads used by Lanator. 3 people grouped up, and Adaption charging up that ultimate. Final Judgment this time off the mark, though, as Angelo also dropped Stygian Torment. Dragon Knight slowed by Copperpunkin, but no continued chase quite yet. You noted all the anti-heal for Family Friendly. There is not that much, however, for BM to deal with this Chang'e. A Divine Ruin for Lanator, who doesn't apply it very well at all. Persxus can build the Brawler's Beatstick and has done so, and that's a good pickup. But where's the Divine Ruin from Copper? I mean, that is the easiest way to apply Divine Ruin.
Not only that, but they don't have any sort of Pestilence on either of the 2 tanks that they actually have able to go forward, whereas you have 2 on the other side. And while they don't stack, at least with Family Friendly, if Dragon Knight or Forger Vulcan separate, they're still applying that in 2 areas of the fight. They're still able to get a little bit of that anti-heal. Plus, they have some builds in their kit. Plus, they have it built on a lot of people. Depending on how they take this fight, that's a big win.
Big win already for Family Friendly. Punkin falls before his ultimate did anything at all. Fire Giant still pretty low here, but Tony takes a couple crits. Fire Giant still leash, getting lower. BM get it with an auto attack from Privera, and he's looking for more, but he's getting punished. Aegis will save him until Dragon Knight cuts him down with the Crescent Moon. This turnaround from Family Friendly has been absolutely deadly. Angelo will survive for just a moment longer until Spartan notches himself a killing spree. 4 members dead. BM get the Fire Giant, but Family Friendly might get the game here.
I mean, that does stop that Phoenix from falling quite as fast, but you can see they're already going for the weak one on the right-hand side, getting aggressive. No minions to help them. Actually going to have to deal with a wave. And you have a Nemesis standing in your way now. Not necessarily the deadliest, I would say, of all gods, but honestly, you don't look at her. She could get a kill or 2.
Well, taunt onto Persxus. Beads weren't used. Dash still looking for this Nemesis. Waxing Moon just a bit outside, but still a deicide for Family Friendly as only Copper has respawned. That Zhong ultimate coming up soon. Forger Vulcan first one in, looking for the Titan. Copperpunkin might be collateral damage as their Final Judgment was actually hunting Zhong. Doesn't seem to matter. Another deicide and game victory for Family Friendly, though it didn't look easy, Gordon.
It was definitely one, especially in the first 10 minutes, really, really hard fought. Maybe even first 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Before you were even able to say, well, we actually have a lead as of right now. But they were the ones that were able to take that small seed, plant it, and actually grow it into something.
That's that competitive experience that I was mentioning. You know, the Forger Vulcan, the Spartan, Little Tony, these guys who have played before at a competitive level, whether it's on Xbox or on PS4. That sort of mentality of, hey, we've been here before, it happens, let's just focus up and find these victories. And really, those Athena taunts came up huge in the late game.
And that was one of those moments, just being able to reposition. There's a point where Lanator wasn't able to ult because Adaption was just looking for him. Every single time you'd hear Final Judgment get charged immediately, and then that gets canceled away. They lose a lot of their control. Athena taunt comes in, damage dump into one spot, and you're golden. Also,
kind of a cautionary tale. Even though you're seeing a lot of first pick Zhong and it's seeing a whole lot of success and all that kind of stuff, doesn't always work out if you're not comfortable with it, and copperpunkin had a really rough game on that pick. Just really didn't make any impact at all.
There was just so many times where he was getting bullied when it came down. Like, that's pretty much the way to describe it. The builds were built to bully him, the composition was built to bully him, and they played to bully him out to the point where, cool, you've got all these protections, you've got a huge health bar and a lot of damage. It didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything at all. So family friendly, find game number 2. They start off their day at 1-0. Let's go to a quick break as we get ready for match number 3.